Has the Akufo government, has this economy failed after 2020?
Well, I want to be blunt. I know a lot of people will not like it, but that's the situation. To be honest with you, whatever President Akufo is going through with this Ghana's economy, I can say confidently that the whole world governments are going through the same because of Russian-Ukraine war, especially after the COVID. So I always say that if we are voting today in the whole world, 80% of sitting governments will lose. Will lose in the sense that the hardships all over the world, the citizens cannot bear it, and therefore is making every government unpopular. But I will also say that things probably, from hindsight, there are certain things we didn't do right that I think if we have done it differently, the economy would not have been this level to where we are today. Example is, I believe in practical things and creating jobs for the youth. What the program NAPCO, NAPCO, for instance, employed 100,000 graduates at 700 cedis a month, meaning 700 million a month. And 700 million, we could have established industries for these young men. You will not get 100,000 people working, but at least the sustainability would have been there, where young men and women, even if they are 20,000 out of 100, will have permanent jobs. Okay, so from 2017 to date, if NACOP was spending 700 million, you multiply it by 6, that would have been giving you about 400 and something, 4.2 billion. And my brother, 4.2 billion would have established a lot of industries here. And the ripple effect, those permanent workers, their family members, and everybody, you will see that, and taxes that we're going to get out of that. Although in the initial stages, there will be challenges because you need to build the industries. But in the long run, it would have been more beneficial than what we are going through. So I would say that, yes, by and large, there have been some mistakes that we've made that are not means worse. But the problem that every country is facing in the world, Ghana is not exceptional. And therefore, propagandas that go on every day, we have to be careful, because it did happen under President Kufuor's era, where the first 6-7 years it did marvelously well, and the world crude oil prices went up from $59 to $147 in May 2008. Then July it went to 174. Prices went up, transportation, food, and Ghanaians did not forgive NPP. That time I warned them, said, look, if you make a mistake and vote for NDC, and within 6 months, Ghanaians were crying.
After 6 months of NDC?
Yes. So the same thing is happening. But I will not sit here and say that I'm an MPP and therefore all is well. All is not.
But let me ask you something. MPP and NDC argue about this. MPP said John Mahama is incompetent. The incompetent one, they called him. And then MPP came to power. Today, the NDC is also saying MPP is incompetent because of a particular denominator, IMF. John Mahama went to the IMF in 2013 or so. Akufo and Ken Agyapong have gone to the IMF. After they inherited IMF, exited Ghana from the IMF, they've had to go back to the IMF. So the people are saying that if you are incompetent, I'm also incompetent. What is your analysis of this NDC IMF, MPP IMF?
You see, during the time that NDC went to IMF, I think in 2015.
Yeah.
Okay. there was no global crisis or pandemic. Okay? There were no wars that affected the whole world's economy. So you could see that it was a complete mismanagement of the economy. I'm not holding brief for NPP, but at least they can lean on something and say that, look, the COVID. Let me take this opportunity. I'll be boldly and blunt and explain to you that most countries, a lot of people lost their jobs.
Yes.
They didn't have jobs. They were staying home.
After COVID, during and after COVID.
Okay, some were given stipends to survive. Ghana, no worker in this country was asked to stay home.
Government workers.
Government workers.
And they were paid.
And they were paid.
Even when they couldn't go to work.
Right.
And they didn't pay water bill and light bill.
Right. You add it yourself. You know the performance of NPP during the COVID. I'm not holding brief. We've made some mistakes that we all have to accept, and I'll be the first person to accept. But when you compare the two governments, Akufo and Mahama, Mahama is not alternative to Ghana.
Why not?
Because the man has been fortunate to succeed at a Mills for 2 years. He has been fortunate to go one term, which is 4 years, 6 years. And we saw what happened in this country. So what is he going to tell Ghanaians again? What is Mahama going to tell Ghanaians?
He's telling Ghanaians that NPP is corrupt.
NPP is corrupt. NDC is corrupt. That is why you have Ken Agyapong coming in.
Ken Agyapong is NPP.
I'm a disciplined NPP.